Hey guys, what's going on here? And I'm going to show for myself here, but I think this is the right time to do a video on Lorwyn expected value because we're basically a day and a half from the entire world being able to dump these cards and these products and raise them to zero. So I want to talk through this. I'm going to show a little bit. This is our EV calculator, ev.anontcg.com. And you just go to the site, you can click on join the Discord, join through WAP. It's $12.99 a month. Plus, you also get the opportunity to buy pre-sale items. So, for example, we just sold Bloomborough Play at $129.99 plus shipping. We sold Edge Fraternities. I think it was $109.99 plus shipping. And the reason why we charge shipping is A, everybody else does. So it's an apples to apples comparison. And B, if you're on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast, it's not nearly as fair as if you're, in Connecticut, for example. But anyway, I want to walk through this, and this is the EV calc, and you get pre-constructed decks here, and this is really, really cool. So I set this up previously. So if you click on New View, you can go in Lorwyn, and what it does is it aggregates the individual decks. So this is the average cost of sealed. This is the singles price at market. This is the singles price at market low. And what I want to focus on is the way the TCG player market algorithm works is it's a trailing calculation. So as people start to race to the bottom, and it's going to happen because we see it in every release, the low list is really where your liquidity is going to lie, unless you wait for 2 to 3 weeks, and then you'll probably do better. On occasion, you get something like Toff from Avatar Jumpstart, where it comes out at $17 and it races to 60 within the first couple weeks. But when we look at this, and this is the aggregate, so the sealed price is 87. Now, what's interesting is if you look at the sealed here, I just had the commanders up. If you look at the sealed here, you can buy the 2 displays for basically $85 all in with tax. But if you buy the individual boxes, the individual decks, it's $87. So the singles are $129. Card Kingdom buy list. This is really cool because this just interfaces with Card Kingdom. So if you want quick liquidity on a percentage of the cards, you can kind of pick and choose what's there. Obviously, if you're breaking them, being able to dump a massive amount of these and recoup cash is a huge opportunity and advantage that you'll have over some other people. But these decks sold very, very well early on because I think the EV of the overall displays was like $600 for the 4 decks combined, and that's obviously come down substantially here. Now it'll bottom out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and things will start to move up. But at our pre-release, we only had five deck pairs, deck sets, whatever you want to call them, to sell. So for whatever reason, there wasn't a whole lot of demand for these locally. But it just goes to show that the market's global, and it's different in other places. So moving on, I want to talk about the collector boxes here. So collector boxes are huge. It's the next shiny thing. Everybody's looking at the serialized cards, the fractured foils, all the cool stuff in here. But there's a lot of heartburn about folks that think that the ambassadors or whatever the hell they are who get the pre-release items, they've had their packs seeded just to gain excitement. They very well could have. I don't think that they were seeded to the detriment of everybody else, but I'm pretty sure the MTG Goldfish guy who got his face ripped off for the 3rd set in a row did not get seeded packs. So it's just I would be careful with these. Now look, for $419. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but we'll go here. Just Lorwyn. So $419, here's your price. Updates every 5 minutes. Now we can toggle this to market. We can toggle this to low. I use low price because, again, things race to zero. Now, here's the box expected value. Here's the box expected value at 25-cent SIF floor, 50-cent SIF floor, and 386, or I'm sorry, and dollar SIF floor. And the cards aren't populating for this yet because we're upgrading things quickly here. But I would be careful with this because I think the EV of these are going to get smashed again with everything else. And yeah, I'd be shocked if you didn't see an EV somewhere in the high 200s. But again, it goes to show that people are buying the product not for the cards inside because they have excitement to open the cards inside, which is great. It's great if you're selling cards. It's not so great if you're trying to buy them and break them. So we're kind of 0 for 2 here. So this is this is actually the most interesting one. So if we get a Lorwyn play, we're sitting at $151. Now again, this is going to race to zero. For whatever reason, there's been a ton of these that have sold, which is really, really interesting. I thought Avatar sold pretty well as well, but there is a good amount more Lorwyn than there was in the market when Avatar came out. So this one's a little bit head scratching, but if you look here again, $150, updating every 5 minutes. So here's where it gets screwed up. So you have the pack and the box expected value at market. Market isn't a reasonable benchmark for where the prices are, because when you go down to low list, and again, if I'm opening product to sell singles, I need to know what my absolute floor doomsday scenario, if I have to list every card today, is. Because if I list every card at low list, it's going to sell. It's going to sell in a day, 2 days, regardless. And I'm not going to have a whole lot of downside risk from there. But you look at 25-cent, 50-cent SIF floor, $1. At a 50-cent SIF floor, you're already underwater by $15. And that's before fees. Now, again, if you want to have fun and enjoy the cards, that's great. But this is cool. This kind of gives you the cards that matter. This is something that I like to look at because it tells me what cards to look for, because I don't know match cards all that well. And then it gives you the relative pack values, blah, blah, blah. But here, this is cool because we have broke down in Mythic, low price plus shipping. So Painter Servant, Bitter Bloom Bear. I think this is the serialized card. A bunch of other stuff, whatever. But you can do the same for rares. And the reason I like this is with commons, I can look. I'm going to look at the low price here. Can't wait for this to be 40 cents. It's so stupid. There's really no card right now that has any value for common. So as I'm sorting through now, obviously I'd put it in the fizz batch to run it quickly. But if we're doing this in bulk, we do have a capacity limit with fizz batch. So we just quickly sift off all the commons, throw them in a pile of bulk or trash or whatever, and go from there. And, we can do the same with the uncommons. There's probably some uncommons here that'll have value at some point in time, but for now, it's not worth looking at. So it's kind of like when we bulk opened Avatar Jumpstart, we pulled the 7 decks or whatever that had a bunch of value, and then everything else just got thrown in a box in the corner. And at some point in time, we'll take a look at it again. You look at the rares. Again, you have some good rares. The shock lens here are holding up pretty well. So I think net, it's not a great idea to break these for singles right now. I know a lot of stores like to crack some collector boxes, some play boxes, and look, again, if you're selling singles locally and you're getting a premium over TCG player and you're paying $100, $98, $103, whatever, it's not a bad place to be. If you're paying $195 to $205 for the collector boxes, you're golden. The item that's a little, oops, what am I doing? That's a little concerning is with the EV. Granted, it's at $100 for the commander decks, but we know it's going to come down at least another 25%, probably 40%. The cost of those has gone up to like $124 on average at distro. $124 for only 2 decks, which is total garbage. And you get no CSP, no collector sample pack. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens because there's not a whole lot of items in there. And what I was told by Wizards, this was when I was at an industry event, was that they removed the CSPs because it was slowing down the printing process. And that was it. So for those of you who don't know how the world of business works, when you want to maximize your efficiency in printing, that's what you do. if you're collecting and you're looking for value, you're gonna kind of get screwed over and get less value over the short term. But all of these have performed extremely well over the long term. So I want to talk edge real quick. So edge fraternities. So here's another one where the market's 152, and we got reprint wave 1 in December. We have another wave coming now over the next week or two. It doesn't seem like the second wave is that astronomical, but it's probably bigger than the first wave, maybe double the size, 2.5 times the size. So this is going to come down a little bit, but the EV on these play boxes is just not good. So, you look at 25 or the 50-cent SIF floor, 114. I couldn't buy these from distro and mass break them and not lose my ass on this after fees. There's just no way to do it. And then, Bloomberg is going to start hitting the market next week. GTS, Southern, everybody else, to my knowledge, unconfirmed. They got this. They sold everything out the same day, and it's gone. Just allocated, and it's absolutely gone. So what's interesting is it was a reasonable. This was probably 40% of what a regular release would be today. So if a regular release is, call it 60,000 boxes, there's probably 24,000 boxes put out the market across the board. Obviously that's excluding anything that's going to hit on Amazon. But if we look at this, I tend to assume that that TCG player is about 2.5% of the market. So, you take 2.5%. I mean, I would probably take this times 40 right now. So, you're looking at 8. Oh, no, it's not that much. 286. You're probably, in reality, they can't be that much because they would blow through the boxes so quickly. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the sell through here, because the Bloomberg play boxes, they sell because the price keeps going up. The product, it's kind of old, it's kind of stale. I know people like it, but when you only have 69 boxes left on the market, it's kind of like meh. And I guess my point is when I said there's 2.5% market share here, this is over the life, not over the last 30 days, because over the last 30 days, they're going to be a much higher concentration in the market because nobody else has it. So let's look at Bloomberg EV just real quick. Now this is okay. So, at your 50-cent SIF floor, you're 161. At $1, you're 154. But again, the product hasn't hit the market yet. So this is going to look like an absolute gold mine right now. But you either have to be first to market or you have to be willing to sit on the product for 3 months plus. Because once it recovers, then you just sell the boxes. You don't have to do the labor. So that's kind of the way I look at things. But I think most importantly, Lorwyn Eclipsed is going to get its face ripped off here. So it's probably, it's almost certainly, it's not viable for selling singles. But look, if this was interesting, join the Discord, join the EV tracker. There's plenty of opportunities in here that make a lot of sense. And again, if you're buying boxes of Bloomberg from $129.99 for me, they're going to probably be back in the high 100s in the next 3 months. You may not get a better price. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and have a good day.